All right, we are back live. Sorry to everybody that was just watching. We're going to get back started up here. Sound should be coming through, though. Hopefully. We wait, we wander. We have this set as an audio source, so for everybody that is either here nor there, hop in the chat. Let us know if you got us loud and clear. All right. We're back live. Do we hear this sound? Should sound like a number beeping. Do we have that noise? We could do a really big test right now. Do we have music? Do we have music coming through the speakers? Yes. Yes, we had music coming through the speakers, which means the phone lines are now open. So, Randy, if you are watching, if you are tuned in, Randy was telling us some good stuff. Randy was telling me some good stuff. But it's Motorsport Report. We're starting back over. Had to do a refresh. From here on out, this is the way we're going to do this. I am not going to start this live. I will not open Streamlabs until 5 minutes before we go live. From here on out, it is a guarantee. For some reason, if you keep this production software open for more than an hour on your computer, I guess it just doesn't work. I don't know. Calls are coming in now, though. All right. Motorsport Report. Is this Randy? Who do we have here on the line?
Randy.
It's Randy. All right. Can everyone in the chat hear Randy?
Check.
We're getting the chat. I got you loud and clear. Obviously, I don't think I'm going to need the headphones. For some reason, that's not coming through right now through the headphones. But everyone could hear the music, so they should be able to hear you talking. That's what I find so confusing. Here we go. Okay. Is that a good here we go? All right, so it's a yes. Everyone can hear Randy. Okay. Randy, you are now live on the Motorsport Report. We've got it, finally. Okay, so I'm going to let Randy start from the top and tell us a little bit about this exciting announcement, Dennis Hauger coming over to Coyne Racing and the Andretti Alliance. Randy, you have the floor.
All right, thank you. So like we initially started speaking about, I work with Ask ROI and Alt Blockchain, and in Nashville we announced a long-term partnership with Dale Coyne, a multi-year partnership. So that took some of the stress off of Dale having to find last-minute sponsors, and like he always does. It's like he always has to have a driver with money come on board at the last 2 weeks before a season. So now he's got that luxury of not having to do that and being able to pick drivers based on merit. So that gave him some flexibility. And so in Nashville, I had been involved in some, by accident, I walked into a meeting and my boss, Todd Alt, was talking to some people, and I can't tell you everybody he was talking to, but I did get wind of this Hauger situation. He was telling me his plan for this year, and I was like, oh, wow. And even then in Nashville, when he told me this, I was like, oh, wow, we got to do this, because there was talk about maybe Linus Lundqvist coming on board, and I'm not sold on Lundqvist. Not all these drivers that come from NXT translate into the INDYCAR series. I mean, some of them do, some of them don't. You can have all kinds of success in NXT, but then when you move up, you don't really do that. I have the feeling about Hauger that he's going to really translate well and do some good things, and especially with this technical alliance with Andretti. It is huge, man. I mean, last year you saw Arenas. I mean, he almost won Toronto, and that was unheard of. I mean, who could believe that? But with Michael Cannon on board, he's just a wizard, right?
Yeah.
Engineering, and even Arenas called him Einstein, which I thought was appropriate. But
true.
It's a bummer that Arenas left. We didn't Yeah, it's a bummer we lost Renus because, they were really gelling really well. I was surprised Renus would want to leave because he was so happy with the Honda engine and the fuel mileage they were getting with the Honda engine as compared to Chevy before. He wasn't happy with that. So I thought, man, everything's looking good here, I mean, really coming together. And then when Renus left, I was like, oh, damn. But, with this technical alliance with Andretti now, I am just so excited, dude. We're really going to have a chance to move up the grid here. With everything they're going to be able to provide for us with the, all the data and stuff and the setups and like I said, I think Hauger's good. And then there's another driver going to be announced, which I can't talk about, but I think that's going to be announced. I'm not sure when, but they said by Halloween they want to. It might.
I think there's a lot of rumors going around about Romain Grosjean, possibly coming in. I know there's a lot going on there. We completely understand if there's nothing you can tell us, confirmed today.
Right.
But I think a lot of people have eyes on that.
Yeah, you might be barking up the right tree. Like I said, I walked into some meetings and by accident and saw what was kind of going on in Nashville. So, but it's super exciting, man. I mean, like I said, the technical alliance is just huge. We already got Michael Cannon. Now you're bringing the Andretti technical alliance on board and this kid Hauger, who's going to be hungry. And, if the other driver is good too, then, things are going to be shaping up pretty good there. I mean, I don't think Coyne's ever been in this good a shape in the history of that racing team.
I mean, it showed so much too in this season. I mean, just Renus getting the podium at Toronto, like you said, like that alone right there, and then Michael Cannon, Abel had, Abel obviously didn't have the best year, but he had some finishes that were way better than they could have been. So, I mean, for what it is, for what Dale Coyne Racing is right now, I think it's so good, and I think that with the Andretti partnership, that's only going to further. I mean, think of the guys that you have over there now. You have not only, do you have the entire engineering group, the whole team, but the drivers, the people that you can pick minds from, Will Power, Kyle Kirkwood, Marcus Ericsson. So there's so much in there.
Right.
And I mean, you put that on top of a talent like Dennis Hauger coming over from Indy Next. I mean, that right there is a formula for winning. I'll put it that way. So,
yeah. It just makes for a lot smoother transition, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And we have somebody in the chat wanting to know, is Cannon confirmed for next year? Is that I feel like that should be a yes.
Yeah, my understanding is at this point he is coming back, but nothing's confirmed. But he's happy there, and they're happy, and he likes it there. So my understanding is yes, but I don't know that anything's been confirmed or signed. I couldn't tell you about that, but it would really suck to lose him, dude, because I'm telling you, the turnaround was just night and day when he came on board. I mean, everything was gelling so well. Like I said, that's why I'm a little bit bummed about Renus leaving. I mean, I don't know where Renus would go if he goes to Foyt. I mean, that's what I'm hearing. That's not really I don't see that that's a step up for him. I mean, especially with what he had to work with that Coyne, So, I mean, I always wish the best for Renus. I love Renus, and I think he can be a future champion and a race winner for sure.
No,
but I just don't know if that was the right move for him.
Well, what can you tell us? I mean, can you tell us anything about the Renus move? Because, I mean, it was pretty sudden, but I don't think anybody was really surprised by it. Because when you look at it in the grand scheme of things, like obviously I talked a little bit about it on Speed Street with Connor, where I feel like Renus would make really good sense going to the 12, but obviously David Malukas is taking over the 12. And then you find out that, oh, well, maybe Roger had expected Will Power to take a 1-year deal, and so this was kind of like, the resort plan. This was like the plan B thing. So I somebody in the chat said Coyne winning the breakup. So I personally think that this is great for Dale Coyne Racing, and I love grassroots small organizations in racing, and especially in IndyCar right now in a time where things are truly starting to evolve from the ground up. This feels like, for me, kind of like where NASCAR was in like 2019, like when it was just kind of starting to get that little windstorm going to where it was going to kind of shoot upwards a little bit. So I feel really good about IndyCar and where IndyCar is. I feel really good about Dale Coyne, and obviously, you would hope to see, somebody like Renus land at least in good equipment. And I think he could do a lot with Foyt, I do think that him being over there, we already know he's got some oval prowess to him. So I think that would really increase that as well. And then there's all kinds of rumors and stuff going around right now, Randy. I don't know. Have you heard about the rumor with RLL and potentially trying to sell charter?
No, I did not hear that. I have not heard that yet.
That's something new that I've heard.
I can't keep up with all the rumors, dude.
Yeah, I know. It feels like somebody pulls it out their ass like once a day. Like there's something new every day.
Yeah.
You know, somebody's just some 13-year-olds making up something on the internet and everyone's believing in it. That's right. Kind of the way it goes. But no, we appreciate the guys like you that are in the garage that can kind of tell us a little bit about what's happening. So we do thank you for that, and we are excited to see what happens with Dale Coyne Racing going into 2026. I know I couldn't be more excited to see that partnership alliance for them because I know how hard they work, man, and so to have that on the team is huge.
Yeah, that's why I texted you right away yesterday because I as soon as I saw that news, I mean, I already knew in Nashville it could happen, but until you see confirmation, right, you're just praying, you're praying this is going to be the way. And when I saw it, I texted you right away, and I texted everybody. I got some friends at Andretti. In fact, when we first got involved with Todd Alt and Bitnile and getting involved with Connor back in 2022 and 2023 with Carpenter, we were actually trying to do a deal with Andretti. But my boss wouldn't take it because it was only a partial deal. It was only a 6-race deal, including the Indy 500 with Grosjean for 6 races. And my boss likes to do everything big. You know, it's not a half, partial season ain't good for him. He needs 2 cars, the full year. He needs everything, right? So,
right. No, you like to have surety. There's a lot of surety. There's a lot of need for surety. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Over that way.
Yeah, so I texted, not only did I text you, but I was texting those guys from Andretti that I'm friends with that we almost did the deal with. I texted them to just tell them how excited I was to be, it's almost like you're part of the Andretti family now, you feel like, and it's amazing because Michael and Mario, growing up, were always my favorite drivers. So to be just associated in any way with these people, knowing what they bring to the table is just I couldn't be more tickled to death, dude. I mean, God, I'm so stoked, bro.
I love it. Well, Randy, we thank you so much for calling in, brother, and best of luck. Hopefully we'll hear from you again very soon in the near future.
Yeah, sorry about all the technical issues, and you're my dog, bro. Thanks for no, you're my dog, Case, and I love you, bro. Thank you for giving me a little time to share my excitement with you.
Absolutely, brother. Thanks so much for calling in. That was Randy. One of the coolest guys, got one of the longest manes in the IndyCar garage. If you ever find yourself at an IndyCar race, just look for the guy with the long hair. He's got the shorts on. He's just having a time. That's Randy. We love him. So kind of getting around to this again. Had to start this live stream back over, so thanks for everybody that rolled in from the other one. We're going to have John Roberts from Speed Channel joining us here in about the next 15 minutes, so we'll be talking to him a little bit about the current landscape of NASCAR, the current landscape of motorsports. Got another call coming in. Let's get to that. Motorsport Report, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Zach from Alabama.
Is Zach. What's up, Zach? How we doing today?
I've been sick the past couple of days, but other than that, I'm doing all right.
That's good. What you got?
Well, I got boned with Ty Gibbs because, he's not even in playoffs, but he's trying to be aggressive towards his teammates and Denny Hamlin and Bell and their playoff drivers.
Okay, yeah, I could see that. I mean, that's kind of been the hot story of the week, and we hadn't really got to talk about it a ton yet. But let's kind of dive into that a little bit before we get to our guest today, Zach. I wanted to. Yep, we got Tooths in the chat for you, by the way, Zach. Tooths in the chat right now. So shout out to you. Everybody knows you're Zach from the dentist. So that's you now on this program. But no, you're not wrong. Look. There's a lot to talk about with the Ty Gibbs thing. I mean, and I think that we've heard from Denny, we've heard from pretty much every driver that has a podcast this week. I don't think anybody really sees the point, right? They don't really see the point. I think that everybody's kind of on the side of Denny maybe a little bit on that one. And if I'm wrong there, please let me know. But you're not wrong. Yeah, it was a little bit of maybe a little bit of ego, maybe a little bit of pride. That's pretty normal in the world of racing. got in the way of him. But, yeah, I mean, as far as a talking to goes, Joe Gibbs came out and said we got to let drivers handle this mix. So what I think would be more interesting is, Zach, how do you think that conversation would play out?
I mean, I was Joe Gibbs. I would like talk to my grandson about it. Like, look, you're trying to be aggressive to our playoff drivers, but you're not in the playoffs. You need to back off. You know what I mean?
Let's role play this, Zach. You want to role play this real quick? So I'm gonna be Grandpa Joe, and you be Ty. Okay.
Okay.
So let's get into character, and let's do this. So here I come.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell were you thinking?
Honestly, I have no idea. Denny Hamlin just came up on my rear end.
But why didn't you let him by?
Because I want to win the race, because Denny Hamlin's not going to win the championship anytime soon.
Shut your mouth, son. Listen, we got 2 drivers right now. They're trying to be serious out there on the racetrack. I ain't got time for you and your unseriousness, all right? You just get up by that wall and you let them go by. You understand?
Yeah, but they wrecked me in the wall in the damn first place.
I don't give a damn, Ty. You listen and you understand. And don't listen to Kevin Harvick no more, pumping your head full of them lies. You understand?
Yeah, to be fair, I don't like Kevin Harvick either, so.
Okay, so we're out of character. All right, we're out of character now.
Yeah.
That was our role play. That was me and Zach from the Dennis role playing Joe Gibbs and talking to his grandson Ty after that event. That was fun. We should do that more often, man. But yeah, Tiger says Harvick was anti-Hamlin here. I think Harvick's just trying to rage bait people these days. I think that's what he's having fun doing.
Yeah. I mean, I have my bad experience with Kevin Harvick, so I never really liked him because of it.
Yeah, I kind of like Kevin Harvick. I can't say I don't like Kevin Harvick, but Kevin Harvick is on a rage bait campaign right now. So, and I would hope that everybody in the chat could agree that maybe K-Harv is on a little bit of a rage baiter. So, I don't know. But Zach, that was fun. You should call in. We'll call in every week, and if whatever kind of drama goes down, anytime something goes down with Ty Gibbs and Joe, like that's going to be our thing now. Okay, that's what we're going to do.
There'll be a YouTube skit.
That's it. Yep, we just did it. We had our first one today. But I appreciate you for calling in, Zach. Thanks so much.
Yeah, and I also got some advice. I want to work in media on social media.
Okay.
Like at the racetracks, and I've seen you do it a few times. Like what type of level I have to be at for like INDYCAR or races like those?
What do you mean? What type of level?
Like for the media pass.
I mean, I really don't think it's so much to do with the level. It's just the thing that I could say about, like, really, if you want to, like, take motorsports media and try to kind of go the distance with it, get in with a good publication, man. Get in with a really good publication, a team of guys that are writing stories. Get into the writing scene, and then through that, you'll be able to acquire media passes, and then you can kind of get to the racetrack and then kind of grow from there. Does that help?
Yeah, I mean, I never really thought about it that way, so, yeah.
It's a great way. It's the way that I did it with Garage Guys when we had the Garage Guys site, and kind of just growing that name up. I was with Rotoballer for a few years before then, and that's kind of like what got me into all of this. So I started writing fantasy NASCAR articles. From there, I was able to gain media access, getting with a good publication. So it really is just, check around on the internet. There's a lot of great people doing great things right now, and just kind of take those baby steps. And over the years, it will stack up. And we need more people covering racing of all types. So I applaud that, and yeah, I wish you the best, man.
All right, thanks.
All right, no worries. That was Zach from The Dentist. We role-played Ty Gibbs and Joe Gibbs. Never forget. Before we do get to our guest, we've got a few minutes. I just wanted to talk briefly about something that I saw today. Obviously, Wednesday, we've already kind of discussed the big move, the Dennis Hauger move to Andretti, which is huge. at that right there alone, I think is going to be something to be excited for going into 2026. We're already all very excited about watching Dave Malukas getting with Penske, Scotty Mack. There was some stuff, and we'll pull it up on the screen here in a bit. But I wanted to kind of move over to our browser view, and I wanted to go take a look at something I saw. So this morning, Eric Estep quote tweeted Adam Stern's post about the ratings from New Hampshire, only 1.29 million. And I already am saying only, but I want to talk about this because Eric made some great points up here. So 1.29 million viewers is obviously not what we want to see as NASCAR fans, but here's what Eric said. Fans are quick to point to the car or playoffs for poor ratings. And while they could play a small role, I think the issues run deeper. Number one, NFL is hitting new viewership highs every year. It's widening the gap to almost everything. Cable subscription hit new lows every year. There are more cup races on cable this year than ever before. NASCAR's demo has always been one of the oldest in pro sports. Many are aging out, are more interested in politics. Not wrong. 20-year-olds aren't watching cable or sitting through 3-hour races. Even the NBA commissioner admitted they're a highlight league. I'd argue NASCAR is not well positioned for changing viewership habits, especially considering they have 6 more years left on this cable-heavy TV contract. And I disagree kind of with this last part because I think that anybody can be well positioned. I think anybody can be well positioned with the right team and the right people around them. But let's talk about that for a second because I do think it's important. And I do think that while, yes, we are living in a world right now where social media is kind of king, people like Reels, people like TikTok, people like you have to be able to adapt to those things. NASCAR is doing what we talked about on this program last week. They're hiring media consultants, 76 and Sunny. They've got another media agency they just hired to help them reach the younger demographic. They were apparently they were a part of the Rizzler going to Daytona. So you can hire all these people at the end of the day, or you can listen to young people like us here in the chat around that are kind of in both of these worlds. I think that the best way you're going to be able to carry NASCAR into the future is by listening to the young fans that are already here and not really looking at marketing people outside of everything else. Now, while I do find value in having teams that don't know anything about NASCAR coming into NASCAR, I do find value in that. I really do. While a lot of people would tell me that I'm crazy for that, I think that it's smart because if you want to appeal to a wider audience, you're going to need to pull people in that don't know what the hell they're watching. And the best way to do that, and we can say it all day long, you go back to looking at the world of the 90s. You go back to looking at Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt era of racing where they were all over the magazines. They were all over late night TV. They were all in TV shows. There's some things happening right now. There are some things happening right now where NASCAR is kind of trying to do that, but it's mainly happening at the Xfinity level with the CW. Okay. Now we're back. All kinds of tech issues going on today. Let's go take a look at something I saw that came out. I don't even know if it was if I'm going to be able to find it here again or not. But basically, I saw where I think it was Sam Mayer was on the CW. Yes, there it is, Wyatt. Wyatt said it for us right there. Having Mayer and Custer on NXT was peak. It's just that's what you have to do in today's world. There is no way around it. It's the only way that it's going to work. You're going to have to understand that you have to take these drivers. And does that really fall more should that fall on the shoulders of the drivers to be like, hey, I need to do this? That should be on the PR. That should be on the people. But the problem is I feel like everybody is just too concerned with the bottom dollar of things. And I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with wanting money. I get it. Everyone wants money. But if you're going to complain about something not being good, and then you're not going to do it if out of the want because you want to see something better, because we all know that if you just focus your passion, you focus your wants on something to flourish, and you just kind of follow that, money's going to come from that. I think a lot of people in racing have maybe forgotten that. And that's why we've seen a lot of the passion just kind of sucked out of motorsport almost. There's a few of us hanging around here that are trying to really pump that and inject that back into the culture. But it like Wyatt says here in the chat, it should fall on the PR in the sport to promote their drivers. And they're doing the best that they can, I guess, but they could do more. And that's why they're out hiring these marketing teams when I feel like they should just really be listening to the younger fans that are already here. The fans that are going to the track week in and week out. Start doing some polls at the tracks. Look for those 20-year-olds. Look for those 30-year-olds. What is it about racing that brings you here? A lot of them are probably going to tell you, well, it's been in my family. It's something that I grew up on. It's something I watched with my dad. It's something I did. So a lot of that is carrying over from a previous generation. So you got those roots, kids. They're here. And I don't think we're really going to go anywhere. Let's be honest. I'm not one of these people that are going to be like, I'm out of here if NASCAR doesn't change this and that. I love NASCAR. I love INDYCAR. I love racing. And so I want to see racing get better. And in order for racing to get better, we have to go back and look at some of these moments of what worked and how to reapply that in today's time. It is definitely a meeting that needs to happen around a table of people. I get that. But at the same time, if somebody has a big idea and they're very adamant on it and they're like, look, we need to try this, just try it at this point. Try it at this point. If everybody is so concerned with things falling apart, it's time to start taking bigger risks. It's time to start taking swings. Because if you don't take those swings and you're constantly going to be risk adverse, I don't know what to tell you. You're going to watch things go down. You're just going to ride that wave all the way into the ground. If you want to spark something new, you got to make something new. You got to find a way to get into the culture. You've got to find a way to show people that aren't already coming to the races, that aren't already followers, hey, we're here. Like we said, the CW is doing a great job of that right now, doing the WWE stuff. But we got to get more of the WWE. People already think outside of the NASCAR bubble, everybody's like, NASCAR is a WWE of racing. Fuck that. So what? You want to think that? That's great. At least you think about it. At least you're thinking about NASCAR. At least it's on your mind. Whether you hate it or you love it, it's there. More crossovers into sports. Get some of these guys to the sidelines of NBA and NFL games, not just after they win a fucking championship. And watch what happens. I'm just telling you, stop waiting for the money, start following the passion, and watch the money come. It's simple. It's a very simple formula, but people don't have time and people are impatient and they can't do that. And I'm just speaking to what I have seen and what I have found since I've been in this world, which is why here right now we're about to welcome on John Roberts from Speed Channel to talk to us about those older days and how these things can start to change now in today's time before we keep digging into this show. So bear with us 1 second while we get that ready to go for everyone, and we will be right back. All right, you got me, John? I do. All right, we are going live. Here we go. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. All right, we are back. I've got John Roberts, the legend, the man, the myth, the legend from Speed Channel, the guy that we all watched growing up as youngins. Welcome to the program, brother. So glad to have you. I think this is our first time that I've personally got to talk with you live, which is awesome.
I think so. You know, you say legend, Chase. Remember, the Titanic was a legend.
The Titanic was a legend. Look, I'm gonna say this. It felt like the Titanic the day that Speed Channel went away, and that was a rough one for us. So we're trying to do a little bit of reviving that, bringing that back. But John, I wanted to have you on today. I was just kind of in the middle of a rant, talking a little bit about some of these tweets that I've been seeing coming out this morning, Corey LaJoy and all that. Everybody talking about the ratings and what's happening in the sport right now. What are you seeing right now in today's time that's so different than what we used to have maybe back in the late 90s, early 2000s?
Well, I said it back then, Chase, to anybody who would listen to me, is that when you have a business model based on something that technology is changing like it did about 10 years ago, when they were talking about the last TV contract, not the current one that we're in right now, the last TV contract, when they were signing that, I was trying to make the point to whoever would listen to it. If you want to make a long-term contract right now, I wouldn't do it around something that's changing as much as the way Americans take in video and television and media. It's just like what you and me are doing right now. This wasn't around, and this wasn't a way. And even if it was around, even if some people were doing something like this, it was very, very rare. Now it's the norm. So I think when you look at something, now we know TV ratings control the world. We would like full grandstands, and it's cool when you see full grandstands. But it's a fact of life that's why when you watch the Major League ball game, it always struck me way back when, you'd watch the Major League ball game and the stands would be empty, but you knew for a fact that pitcher at the time was making about $12 to $13 million a year.
Yeah.
How is this happening? There's nobody there buying $8 beers. There's nobody paying $20 to park if they're not there. But that doesn't matter. It's the TV rights. And now NASCAR as a business is starting to find that out. There's still some quibbling over who gets what in terms, because you have the tracks, you have the teams, you have the drivers. And the TV networks, I don't know if you've checked lately, Chase. I know you have. They are not the United Way. They are a for-profit company. They're not charities. So the big thing right now, Chase, before we, I always have, me and Kenny Wallace always joke whenever anybody makes a statement, like some of the things we're seeing online right now, we always say, well, all right, just go ahead and get your cardboard box, move under the bridge if it's that bad. you have to look at the whole picture is what I'm trying to think. The way people take in their media has changed more in the last 10 years than it's changed since the advent of media, since the first time somebody broadcasts something. So if you're not taking that into consideration, you're not seeing the whole picture.
Absolutely. And one thing too that's happening as well is, do you think that people having more of like an understanding of what happens behind the scenes is changing a little bit about how people look at media as a whole? Like now that we're kind of in this, what a lot of people are calling like this this generation of truth, where like there's really nothing that you can kind of hold back anymore or keep behind. There was a lot of things I feel like back in the day where, you know, you would have, you know, a lot of the Wizard of Oz kind of like working the levers behind the scenes. Now, like you're talking about how anyone can just get on YouTube, anyone can do these types of shows, and it's kind of up to you to bring that up. Do you feel like that kind of awakening from a lot of people has changed the way that they look at it as a whole?
Well, I think it has also. And I think what happens also is we take a lot of stuff for granted, I believe, in the way, because, you know, can you imagine? We were joking not too long ago about the first time I was ever, and I don't want to admit how many years ago it was, the first time I was ever trying to find the Michigan racetrack, and I got lost on the way to the racetrack. Well, you know what? We'll never get lost again in our lives. We'll
Right.
never get lost again. And you used to get lost all the time.
Yep.
When we didn't have these sort of technology things. So you assume that everything, you take things for granted. You assume everything's going to work. Everything's going to come to you exactly when you want it to come to you. But, you know, Chase, a phenomenon that we saw just a couple of years ago, and I witnessed so many friends and relatives. I've always been just a motorsports fan. I've always liked all of motorsports. And I fortunately, you know, growing up, the only thing I ever saw was stock car racing. Then I got into the media business, started seeing open wheel cars, and say, man, all this racing is really dang cool.
Yeah.
Well, when you look at a couple years ago, when everybody knew how cool Formula One really was, anyway, right? Because you know, Michael Schumacher was one of the most famous dudes in the world. But then in America, you did this behind the scenes video thing that Netflix did.
Yeah.
How many people, Chase, did you talk to that said that it just put them into Formula One? It didn't change the racing. The racing still sucked. The racing was still.
Yeah, it still does to this day. That's a big topic that we talk about all the time, is like the real open wheel thrills in America is INDYCAR. And, but it's the hype factor. It is the popularity. It's making these drivers known, showing their personalities to the world. And I feel like that is but you can say that until you're red in the face, and like some people will believe it, some people won't. What matters is that people are watching it. People are watching it for different reasons, and they're seeing it through different lenses.
Whatever the reason. Whatever the reason, you like to do that. But if you remember, then if you go back, because I heard so many times again from these people, boy, look at what the Netflix special is doing for F1. Boy, NASCAR should do that. Well, we did. Do you remember what was it? 365? Not
no, it was NASCAR Full Speed. Maybe I don't even remember the name of it. But that's to prove your point. You know what I mean?
Three different ones. There were 7 days where Speed Channel guys were following a driver for 7 days. There was all access. And NASCAR 360. That's what I was trying. NASCAR 360, which the first episode, by the way, Kenny Wallace saved by getting his eyebrows waxed on the air. But that's a whole different.
That's fun.
Yeah,
that's fun. Yeah,
we can talk about that for a long time. But there were those things out, and what was that time, Chase? That was the height of that was when 20 million people were watching the Daytona 500, and like 5 or 6 for an off race. Now you're talking about 1 million viewers there, and also it was kind of interesting at the time too that we often noted our Cup Series pre-race show on Speed Channel, which was not a broadcast network, right? Did not have the opportunity, was reaching 85 million households, as opposed to a broadcast network was doing much more. We were getting over 1 million viewers per pre-race show.
It's huge.
Nowadays, and you look at that, nowadays, you're not getting 1 million for the Xfinity race for the race, for the event itself. And last year, a couple of the playoff races, because I remember discussing it with a couple of people, because I don't, I look at it, I glance at it, but I think I understand why it's happening. A couple of the playoff races last year, Chase, if I'm not mistaken, they were like 1.4, 1.5 million viewers for a Cup Series playoff race. Yeah. And that gets you also back to this competition factor. It's football season, and we know we got a tremendous amount of competition. And again, that really goes back to what you first asked me, why this is going on right now. The competition factor is huge. Americans have so many choices, whereas we used to, you'd go home at night and there'd be 3 channels there, and one would have Happy Days on it, and you'd watch that.
Yeah, it was like, it kind of like, it's the effect of like this is what's on and this is what you have to watch. Now it's just whatever is tailored for your personal liking, for your personal interest. So it does make it that much harder to really like pinpoint, like, how are people seeing this sport? And that's what's really like gotten my attention, is because of how much the media landscape has changed. I can only really say how I see racing through my lens and my perception. You have more of a broad perception. You've been doing this way longer than I have. Obviously, I watched you coming up, as a kid. So you're in there in the thick of it. You're kind of creating the story. And that's the beauty of this, is at the end of the day, I feel like a lot of people don't give enough credit to that fact. This is a sport, but storytelling, the element